the flow. I go with the flow. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. Up above just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. I'm out of love, but I guess I deserved it. Trying to hide, to pass you by. I'm getting down, feeling fine. I'm light as air, no one can reach me. Lost in a dream, lost in between. Let's keep on flying, let's keep on breathing. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. Up above just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo.
Good day, everybody. Or good morning, it's kind of right on the border. But yeah, let's go check out the forest a little bit today. See how our investments are doing. And by that I mean the trees we've planted. And just get a little bit of exercise. Start in the beginning, the connection might be a little shaky here, but for the most part it should be good today. There's always some parts where it can be not the best. It was below freezing again this night, as we can see here, ice on the puddles. But not the dirt is not even hard, it's like crispy on the surface, but not really frozen at all. It's gonna probably be like this for a while and then at some point start to get cooler. Yeah, here in the beginning we got some younger forest. Probably this birch part we already thinned a few years ago on stream. And now it's growing pretty well. Not gonna take too many more years and then we can thin this again. Same with this rest of this here, kind of mixed forest here. Probably gonna be do some thinning here in a few years. But yeah, this is kind of like more of a mixed forest here. A little bit same as the one we thinned out this fall. There's spruces, there's pines, all kinds of stuff here. And yeah, from this point when the forest is like this big, from here it really starts to grow. It's above the grass pressure, above the moose pressure. I'll go over this little field. See what's going on the other side there. Some younger forest. It survived this time, but yeah, this might be really rough, but once we get up on the hill there, then it's gonna be much better for the bit rate. Right now I see it's really low. I don't know if you guys can see, but up there I got this number. And there you can see how good the stream is working. Here we got some birch that we planted right here at the edge of the field. These have grown really fast. Planted 2020, I think so. Only 4 years old and they're already like 4 or 5 meters tall. And up on the hill, more spruce. And they have also grown pretty nicely. Not 4 meters tall, but really nice looking. Almost like a couple of meters tall. Now beat rate should improve once we get up on the hill here. Yeah, really nice. Nice weather now this morning. That's why we're out here now. Great weather. And a chopper. As I said, the last 2 weeks or something, here at the farm, there's pretty much been, like, you've been able to hear choppers pretty much every day. Whoop! Falling backwards. But yeah, now again, when everything else is like dying, like all the grass and stuff, all the things you can see is the green trees. So it's really easy to see where the trees have been planted. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good when you see all the trees. Not very many like gaps in between. And if there is a little bit, then there's like a birch or something that nature put in there. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. Really rocky terrain right here, but the trees, you can see they're still growing pretty nicely. And one thing that's good with this type of terrain is there's usually not too much like other crap that grows, so you don't need to be here with the brush cutter too much. We might be okay here with just planting the trees and then coming in like once in the first 10 years to cut down some trash. And then you basically got the forest. So that's pretty much the least amount of work you can have to start a new forest. In some more fertile areas, might need to cut down the trashy stuff a little bit more. But yeah, this looks good here. Pine, other spruce, I mean, and then some birches in places. Looks good. This one really nice. Grew like this much this year. It's pretty good. Like over 1/2 meter. So yeah, this looks really good here actually. Really happy about this small area here. It's really rocky terrain, so it's always definitely a little bit surprising like how good the trees can grow here. Like it's like really full of boulders. And then down there we got more birch again. In this small area we planted birch in the places where the previous generation of spruce was very rotten. Like there was a lot of rotten trees in those, so over there we planted birch mostly, and then you saw there when we came off the field, there we also planted a bunch of birch, but otherwise up here we did spruce. You could definitely, up on a hill like this, you could plant like some pine. We got a nature pine here, but the problem is the moose will eat them. That's why we really don't plant too much pine. We have put a little bit, but not too much. Yeah, it is boulder dash right here, but still you can see a little bit surprising thing. You can see how well these trees grow here still. Like it's just boulder on boulder, but then in between the boulders there's like really fine sand. So you can see the trees still like it. I'm actually really surprised how well these trees are growing here. Like this summer was really dry, so it wasn't, even for the trees, it wasn't really good. But they're growing really nicely here. And it's really easy to see when we planted like always like 2 meters, then there's a tree, 2 meters tree. So I can basically tell from that not many trees have died here. There's trees everywhere. Of course you can't plant right on a rock, but in between the rocks you can plant some trees. So they're doing okay here. Maybe have some groundwater. No, I don't think so. Like up on the hill here, it's very dry. But I mean, when they get their roots pretty fast, they grow their roots pretty wide. And then, I mean, they seem to survive. It definitely boggles the mind a little bit. Like you would think a summer like this when it was really dry. It's still dry. But still the trees survive. Like I haven't seen a single dead one yet. Not even one. So it's, I'm definitely a little bit amazed how well they survive. Because this is like, it's on these higher areas, it's like if I would dig on the dirt is like, it's sand, gravel, big rocks. So it's not that good soil, but apparently the trees can grow. It is amazing. Even if I see it, I've seen this many times, but it still amazes me every time how well they can survive. Oh, here we got some lingon. A bunch of lingonberries. Let's see, these have frozen now, so these might be a little sketchy, but we could try to taste a few. Now they're all red. I think we were somewhere close here earlier on. Some of the trees were like white and some were red. But here's a bunch of lingonberries. They're kind of frozen now, so they taste a little bit different, but I still eat them. There's actually a lot of them right here. Some in the shade. Here you can see it was pretty cold this night. There's ice on the berries. Frozen berries. You can still eat them after they freeze. They get a little bit more sweeter after they freeze a little bit. But yeah, a little snack. A little bit of a snack. There's a bunch, there's like a little patch here. There's like a lot of lingonberries here. Otherwise, not so much. But yeah, let's go to the other side. Here, no trees can really grow, since there's a power line. So they just pretty recently they came here. You can see down there how everything is just cut down. When there's like a power line, no trees are allowed to grow here, or nothing higher than, I think it's like 3 or 4 meters. Yeah, at least it's easy to walk here. No risk of getting stuck in mud, or not even get mud on the boots, since it's like pretty dry. This area here, this is like a little low area, so usually here it's like big puddles this time of the year, but now it's bone dry. Good morning there, Mark. Yeah, power lines. Yeah, definitely don't want to touch the power lines up there. Then it's just gonna say zap and then you're gone. But yeah, when they built this big power line, they had to put one of these things up, and then my dad, he climbed up one side and then went over and came down on the other side. The lines weren't there, but just the structure that keeps up the lines. So yeah, theirs are pretty high, probably like 20 meters up in there. I don't think I would be able to climb up there. And now when the power is on, it's it's also very, very dangerous. Could could very easily die if you did that. So let's not do that. Yeah, so here's some path. Oh, there's a little bit of water there. Little bit. But yeah, like overall it's still dry. It could be very wet this time of the year. October, November, everything could be like soaked and pretty wet, but it's still on the dry side. Yeah, here we got some older trees. This we already cleared all the junk ones. I think it was last summer or the summer before that when we streamed this, when we cleared this whole area, cut down some unwanted trees. So that looks nice. Then we got more. This stuff was also planted 2020, I believe. The same year as the stuff there on the other side we just looked at. Yeah, this looks nice. Spruce also here. Very easy to see now. If you come here in the middle of the summer, it's very hard to see where the trees are because everything else is also green. Now the only thing that's green are the spruce trees or pine trees. Or the grass is like down, so it's much easier to see stuff. But yeah, it's very easy to describe the summer here, dry. For even late spring, the whole summer and the whole fall now, easy to describe here, dry. Just overall dry everywhere. Or drier than on average at least. But yeah, they're growing here also, not as much. The other place they're growing better. This is like a flat area, so there's probably more competition from the grass here. Not growing that fast, but still okay here also. And then there's a patch of birches there again. That's a big like ant hill. I don't think we see any ants anymore. I think they have gone into hiding mode. And then we got it's like aspen. Some aspen trees that come in naturally. Some spruce has come in naturally. There's probably some pine here also. There's like a little pine that came in naturally. But there's always when you plant like one tree, it doesn't mean that the forest is going to be just that in the future. Like you can see here's quite a bit of pine here. There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. All those have come in like naturally. So if there's a good spot, then we definitely can leave pine also. But yeah, it's really interesting to see how many of these survive. These look good now. But you just wait when the moose comes here in the winter and eats them. So yeah, the goal is like to get a mixed forest, but we don't really. We have planted some birch, some pine, but mostly we kind of have to plant spruce. That's the only one that the moose really doesn't like. Yeah, moose, not the mouse. Mouse isn't an issue here. Moose is an issue. Good morning there, Sane. But yeah, mouse doesn't really do anything here. Moose does. I can show you a tree that has been damaged by the big moose. The big guy. Doesn't take us too long to find one. Here you can see this birch here. See how the top has been broken off. The moose does this. This is not snow. This is not anything else. The moose puts its head against the tree and then bends it down, and eventually the tree breaks. And then the moose eats the good parts of the tree, which is the top and like the ends of the branches. So the animal is not stupid. It does this because yeah, the tasty bits are the very top of the tree. So yeah, this tree is basically like destroyed. It's not dead, but here I would probably cut the birch down and then leave like a pine, because that tree is kind of destroyed. Big guys need much food. Yeah, I think, how much did they say a moose needs to eat every day? I think it was probably like 20 kilos of branches or something. So that's quite a few trees. I mean, if you have smaller trees, that's quite a few trees. But yeah, otherwise, like most of these trees look fine still. Like we had one destroyed there. And then yeah, otherwise the birches look okay here. So I think once they get a little bit bigger, then the trees are safe. So I think we're almost out of the woods, even if we are out in the woods. But yeah, it's really nice to see that there is pine here also. So we can leave some of these also then later. That will fill in the gaps nicely. So yeah. Some trees always get destroyed. Like when you plant, you will never have 100% of the trees survive. There's always like some percentage that's gonna die for one reason or another. But yeah, this looks good here. We got pine. We got pine everywhere. Birch, spruce, some aspen stuff. Birch is the most, I would say the moose, I think they first they eat pine if they can find, then birch, and then spruce, but I don't really think they ever eat spruce. They eat everything else before that. But yeah, pine is what they like most. Maybe also like aspen. I think they like the aspen tree also. Yeah, some there's a little bit of grass around, but trees are still doing decent. Then we got some areas like here where you see it's like just big boulders, so we weren't even able to plant anything there. It's like there's no soil, there's just big boulders. We don't have too many areas like this, but sometimes you can find some small areas where it's like impossible to plant any trees. Just big boulders. Here's another patch that we planted with birch. We did some patches here in like the worst spots where we didn't want to plant spruce. Yeah, there might be. I think it's going to be here in the south. I think it's going to be mostly rain. But yeah, there might be a little bit of snow that comes down and then it melts. Winter is coming for sure. For sure. Then a little lower area again, then we'll go up there. There's like on that edge there we actually planted maybe a couple hundred pines or something, and they have like survived, but you can definitely see there's like a lot of damage there too. But there we planted like a little bit actually planted pine, just to see how badly they get wrecked. Have we got nice conditions for ski track? Yeah, I think it's not gonna be enough for that yet, but hopefully we get that as soon as possible. I think the most likely scenario is that we get snow, then it melts, then we get snow, then it melts, then we get snow, then it melts. And just like a few centimeters each time, so not enough to make a ski track. That's what happens most of the time. But then last year we were really lucky because in the mid-November we got like 15 centimeters of snow, and then very surprisingly that stayed for the whole winter. So last winter was really good for skiing. How long will it take before this wood you can use? So this area right here, I would say in about 15 years we can come in here and remove some trees. That doesn't mean we're going to cut everything down in 15 years. We're going to come here and do a thinning, which means we're going to remove the low quality trees or some of them and leave the good ones. So it's not that long. I mean, okay, 15 years sounds like a lot, but in the terms of forest, it's not actually that long. And when we can go over there. There's like some older forest. Then there's some forest that probably gonna take only like maybe 10 more years, and then we can get some wood from there. But yeah, this looks okay. You can see here. It's pretty easy to see all the planted trees, all the green ones. All the green ones you can see here are pretty much planted. And then nature also fills in with, there's some rowan trees, birches, aspen trees. Here's a lot of grass here, so here the trees probably grow a little bit slower because there's a lot of competition from the grass in the beginning, but they look good here too. A few more years and they will be above the grass, and then they will grow faster. So yeah, even here, sometimes there's like water just flowing here, almost like a little pond here, but now it's like dry, pretty much dry. There's a little water there, but shouldn't be too bad here. Should be able to walk around. Yeah, now we're soon gonna enter the little bit older forest that was planted probably, if this was 2020, then probably like maybe 2018. Don't remember exactly the years, but this I remember that we planted 2020. Yeah, I think right somewhere here is the border between the little bit older forest. No, not yet. We still planted birch here. They have grown really nicely here. And not actually that many destroyed. I didn't really see a single destroyed one here. That's always a like good news. You never know when you plant like how many are gonna get destroyed by the wildlife. This looks fine here. And this somewhere here is like the border, yeah. So this is a little bit older. You can see the spruces are bigger and there's a lot of birch here also. I think this might need like a first brush cutting here soon. Maybe even next year. This is becoming to look like a jungle here. Yeah, I definitely think next summer, this low part of this area, this is needing some work here, I'm thinking. Probably next summer. Next summer or the summer after that. And then we'll remove a bunch of these that are too close to our planted trees. Leave some in the gaps, of course, but this is becoming a jungle here almost. So yeah, if you just leave this now for 10 years, then it's absolutely horrible. Now there's still a pretty good way to walk through this. But yeah, leave this untouched for another 10 years. Then this is an impenetrable jungle right here. But yeah, other than some need for thinning, this looks pretty good. You can see here, this is probably a good way to show you, like we planted spruce here, so the green trees. And all the birches, like all these trees, all these have come in naturally. So there's really not a risk here of not getting a new forest. Even if we would have planted nothing here, this would be full of birches now. So you will get something, but of course the spruces probably are going to be more worth in the future than the birches. So that's why we planted spruce and not birch. But yeah, it's pretty good like soil here. This will grow well. If you manage it in a good way, then it will push wood like crazy. Just push wood. As long as you just remember to cut down something occasionally, then the rest will grow like crazy. Which might sound weird again. Might sound like, no, that's not the case, but from experience, I can tell you that it's gonna, not to the extreme, but almost like the more you cut the forest, the more it grows. That's probably not the good way to say it, but like to some point, as long as you cut some down, then the rest is gonna actually grow better. Here's actually, this might be, I don't know if this is a planted spruce. Here's one that's died. But yeah, very, very rarely do you see dead spruces when you plant them here. Survival rate is probably like 99%, which is very good. If we would have planted pine here, then the survival rate would probably be like maybe 70%. Go to the other side, but this ditch actually has some water in it. But we're gonna, I guess if we go that way a little bit, then we can go over, check the other side here. Like these here, you can see this spruce is like 4 or 5 meters tall already. That's pretty good since it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's been growing maybe 6 seasons. It's pretty big already. Big Christmas tree. So yeah, just say, let's say 7 years ago, there was nothing here. Now you can see there's like trees everywhere. And in the summer, if we would come here in the summer when the birch has the leaves on, and if I stand here, I can't see anywhere. Like you can see maybe 5 meters. So yeah, Just gotta remember to cut down some here, and this will grow very well in the future. Here's another moose damaged tree. Not too many of them in here. You can always expect there to be some, but at least we have a lot of trees to choose from, so I can leave all the nice trees and cut down the damaged trees. That's why it's also good to have a little bit too many trees in the beginning, and then as they grow you can cut down the damaged ones. Keep the good ones. I don't know how interesting it is to hear me babble about forests, but there is like some strategy to it. We're not just randomly cutting down trees. It might look like that sometimes, but there is a method to the madness. Here it's not that bad. This could probably grow for another couple of years before I do anything here. Seems like some areas are more dense than others. Yeah, there's not too much moose damage here. I mean, one style that also works pretty well against the moose is if you just have like you can see here, there's so many birches here that there's like too much birch for the moose to eat. Then they can't destroy all. Like they will destroy some, but as long as you have like too many trees, then some of them will survive. So that's one strategy to use. I think it works pretty well. There's another birch you can see there. Even if the birch doesn't die, when the top gets snapped off, then you see a big branch becomes a new top, and then you see a nice big curve in the tree. And when you're trying to produce straight logs, that's why it's so bad when the moose snaps off the tree. The tree doesn't die necessarily, but the quality is absolutely ruined. This tree will never be anything else than firewood, basically, because the turn or the crooked part is just it's in the very most valuable part of the tree. So the first log, if you get that to a big log that's straight, that's where the value is. So this is not what you want to see in the forest. In the garden or somewhere in a park, I mean, it's fine, it looks kind of cool. But in the forest here, we do not like this. But yeah, overall, it's not like most trees are fine. I've just seen like maybe 5 damaged trees so far, so that's okay. That's very okay, actually. Yeah, here the terrain is a little different. Here's not too much to cut down, but if you go there, like it's in the really low spots that usually have like so many trees. As soon as you go up on a hill a little bit, it gets a lot better. Not too many trees. But yeah, if this was definitely cut down, or the big trees were cut down probably 10 years ago. Maybe less than 10 years ago, but still you can see, the only thing you can see, there's some branches, if there was a lot of branches in one pile. A little bit of branches and the old stumps. But other than that, everything else has like decomposed and become nutrients for the next generation. But yeah, this will be good. We can leave the spruce here, then leave some birches where there's nothing else. Leave some pine. This will be good in the future. And it always surprises me how fast it changes. Like you walk here now, if you would come back here in like 5 years, you wouldn't recognize it as the same place. It changes a lot in the next 5 years here. The trees are basically gonna more than double in length in the next 5 years. Probably triple in length. Here's a pretty nice spruce or pine. This hasn't been destroyed yet. Looks nice. That one looks nice. Yeah, even the pines look actually good here. I wonder if we maybe don't have that many moose here, but at the other area where we did the chainsaw work last week or the week before that, that's a few kilometers that way. I think there's actually more moose there. There's not that many here, I think. It's pretty close to each other, like the two locations are pretty close to each other, but I think there's a lot more moose there. Because I don't see on the pines that have come in here, I don't see too much damage. Pretty little actually. But yeah, the forests they're looking okay. I mean, of course it's been very dry here in the forests too, but they seem to be growing okay. I mean, a little bit more water, they would probably grow faster, but they are maybe not losing that much growth, like the fields are losing a lot more when it's so dry. But yeah, here we can check, we can see this is like a little patch of older forest. These trees are maybe, what could they be? Maybe 35 years, 40 years maybe. It's just a little patch here, but some older forests, or a little bit of older forest here. And also in the other place there we have a bunch of older forest. Otherwise around here it's mostly the younger stuff at the moment. Yeah, here's a little bit older trees. This could probably use a thinning at some point here. It's just a little patch. When you cut down these older trees, well, these can still grow. They're not that big, but I could do a thinning here, so just remove some first, and then let it grow for another 15 years before we cut the rest down. But yeah, here the soil is definitely different. You can see there's a bunch of these small trees. These have not been planted. This is all natural here. So I think if I would come in here, thin this a little bit, give the dirt a little bit more sunshine, then I think this is a place where I could renew this like naturally, 100% naturally. So you wouldn't need to plant anything. I think this area has potential. I can see the potential because there's these patches of just naturally spruce that have come in naturally, and it's like everywhere. Even here where it's darker, you can see there's a bunch of these small trees. So the soil is different here from what we saw there, and this might be actually, yeah, we can use maybe 100% natural renewal strategies here. It's again, as I said, very small area. But this might use some different methods here. This only works if it looks like this when the big trees are already here, like you have a lot of these small trees, a lot of them, like everywhere. So this might be, yeah, we might try that strategy here. Just remove some trees now, give these small a little bit more sunshine, then if they grow up nicely, then after a while we can remove all the big trees, and then we have a new generation from the small trees without planting anything. That's a pretty tricky thing to do, and in most areas it would not work, but I think right here this might be an area where it could work. As soon as you get a little opening, there's like 100 small spruces. So we might try something different here. We have tried like this strategy in a couple other areas, and it's not really worked well on some areas, but I think this area here is a little bit special. It might work here. Yeah, this is now the really low areas here where there's like a shit ton of trees. So this is really, if you look at the like fertility of the soil, and this is really fertile land. That's why why there is like a million birches coming up. Almost too many. It would be better if there would be a little bit. Some birches are good, but sometimes you get like this, it's like a million trees coming up. But yeah, we can deal this with the brush cutter. Come and cut some trees down. Yeah, it's really good soil here. Very easy for the birch to grow up. Alder. This is like an alder tree. Different species. But yeah, if you look at this spruce, it's like surrounded by the birch. So yeah, I'm thinking next year I think we need to do something about this very area here. Give the trees a little bit more room. It's starting to be too crowded in here. Too many trees in a very small area. Then when you get too many, then there's too much competition. Then you have like a lot of weak trees. Better to have a little bit fewer but stronger trees. But yeah, it's not a very big area. It's this very area here. There's a lot of competition there. Here it gets better already. Here's like a dead tree, and there's a dead tree. These might have dried out this summer when it was so dry. But it's fine here. As you can see here, we can leave all the birch because for some reason the spruce has died. Then we can definitely leave like whatever. Leave birches, leave something else. I think there's just big rocks here and not much soil. That's why some of the spruces have died. But yeah, as soon as we get a little bit higher here, then there's less competition and not that much work that needs to be done either. Yeah, up on the hill here, there's looking good here. Sun is going behind the cloud now almost. It was supposed to, yeah, some clouds are supposed to roll in, and in the evening we might get some rain or even some snow. But yeah, we have good time to check this out now before it starts to rain. And yesterday it was like super windy. That's why I didn't want to come here yesterday. It's really almost a storm yesterday. Pretty peaceful up here. You can hear like somewhere over there's like a logging machine running somewhere in the distance. But other than that, pretty peaceful stuff here. No bears or wolves yet, or no wild boars either. Yeah, we can walk and go up there and then go back somewhere here up to the hill there. But yeah, actually not that much moose damage. I see there's a pine. They don't look damaged, which is kind of nice. A little bit surprising actually. But a nice surprise for once. I mean right here we left some big pines too. So those will definitely provide with some pine seed here. That's why we got some pines here all over the place. Left some big trees. When you do like a clear cut like this, you have to leave like, I don't know what it's now, I think it's at least 15 trees per hectare. Maybe you actually need to leave more these days. It's changed a little bit the last few years. So yeah, even if you do a clear cut, then you're definitely leaving some trees. Can't do like a complete clear cut. Unless you want to like break the certification, like this forest is certified. I think it's the, what are the letters? FTC. No, not FTC certified, but there's like two different types of certification you can have on your forest, and this have the, I think it's the FT. I don't remember the words or the exact letters, but what it basically means is you follow a set rule set and produce like wood sustainably. You can always look those things up online. But yeah, pretty much I would say in Finland probably like 95% of the forests are certified. So most forests. Sometimes if you buy like a carton of milk or something, then or any kind of like packaging things that's made of wood, then you usually can see that this was made of FSC certified wood. Then that wood should come from a forest that's like sustainably been grown sustainably. Rules make sense. Yeah, so like they constantly, of course, change. Like now these days you have to leave more of these big trees per hectare, and yeah, it's kind of like good if you can, when you grow a new forest, if you can grow like a mixed forest where there's like different kinds of tree species, and it's like better for the wildlife, better for the birds, like. It definitely, I would say it makes sense. Like there's some rules, of course, that kind of sound a little crazy, but overall, I think the idea is the right. Then some of the rules might not be the best, but the like idea behind it is pretty good, I think. Like it definitely needs to be sustainable. Like it doesn't take a genius to know that if you like completely destroy a forest and there's not going to be a new forest, then that's probably not good. Probably not good in the long run. So that's why there has to be like some rules. Otherwise it's like somewhere in Brazil or somewhere where they just cut down the rainforest and there's never going to be like a forest back there. But here you can see this was a big forest, then it was cut down mostly, and now there's a new forest. So I mean, that sounds a lot better already, when there's like continuously a forest there. Here's just pine here. I think we planted a little pine here, and then there's probably some trees that came in naturally. There's like a bunch of big pines on the neighbor's side there. So here I definitely have found some damaged ones, but I mean, there's so many that there's probably a few that are gonna be good. That are gonna be good even in the future. And this one looks a little bit destroyed. Maybe it's just it had so much room. Still okay, but kind of bushy. Not the best there, but those pines look like okay. And then we got birch here coming in too. That's nice. Yeah, so these three, if the moose eats like these, you can see the branches have been eaten off here. The side branches. That's not that bad. Like here you can see the branches have been snapped off. As long as the main tree trunk is intact, then that's not too bad. Like this can still be a good tree, but it's when they eat the top off that's when it's really bad. But here you can definitely see moose, this tree, moose. Like the moose is a pretty big animal. It can reach up here easily. It's pretty high up, but they can still reach up here and bite the branches off. That tree probably, that seems like it has some damage. Same with that one, but the main trunk is still okay. That's still fine. Are using all kinds of trees if they are big. Yeah, we can use all the trees have some value. So if the tree is not good for anything else, then it's always good for firewood. Birch is very good firewood, pine is good firewood, spruce is good firewood, alder is good firewood, aspen is good firewood. So yeah, we can use all trees. It doesn't like, some are more valuable when you sell them, but for firewood it doesn't really matter that much. Oh, we can actually look at the neighbors here. The neighbors have had a guy in here with the brush cutter. So what they have done there, we will be doing here soon. This is going to be very good. A very good visual. I can show you in a very visual way what's going to happen here. This is very nice here actually. I thought I heard some like brush cutting sounds. So here you can see the neighbor has had somebody, I don't know if he did it himself or if he had somebody come in and do the thing, but you can see here how some trees have been cut down. So this very thing, I did this already once here, but now the trees are bigger. Soon we need to do it again. But yeah, here you can see. This looks good, so you can see a bunch of trees have been cut down and they have left, like all the spruces have been left and then some nice birches. So this looks fine here. And the border is right here, so they haven't come on our side even, so this is good. But yeah, I did a little bit of this year in our forest too. Maybe if you saw me use a brush cutter, then I did this like very same thing. But yeah, it might look like a little rough, but you can see now the trees have like room to grow again. When some are the bad quality ones have been cut down and some other trash. So yeah, our side will look like this in a while. Of course, I think this was maybe planted 1 year later because our trees look bigger here. There might be like a few years difference, like 1 year, but also this is I think the first time they have been here cutting. And I've already done it once here. So, I mean, I think the neighbors, I think they planted it, maybe it was 1 year later. But you can already see that I came in once with the brush cutter. You can see this tree it has had room the whole time. So it's a little bit bigger than the neighbors' trees. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see here like our forest and the neighbor's forest. And depending on how you treat the forest, it's going to look quite different. But yeah, this was cut. This was clear cut almost the same year, I think. So there's not a big difference in like when the new generation started. I think the biggest difference here is what has been done to the forest. So I would say this looks, I might be biased, but this looks a little better here than this one. They waited a few years later before they came in with the brush cutter, and the spruces are actually pretty small and haven't been growing that fast. Like these trees, you can see they have pretty much been growing like 0.5 meter each year. So you can see there is a difference already now. If you do nothing, at least they're doing something now, that's good. If they would leave this for another 10 years, then it would be not good. But yeah, this is very interesting to see now. You can see the soil is the same, but yeah, depending on what you do there, might be some differences. It's a little bit same thing if you have like two neighbors have two fields like this, and then depending on what they do on the fields, then one field might grow a lot better than the other field. It really depends. Really depends on what you do or how you manage it too. If you do the plant trees and abandon it style, or even the just clear cut and just abandon it for 20 years, or if you plant some trees, brush cut them early, and there's going to be quite a big difference in the quality of trees, quantity of trees. But yeah, at least they're doing something now. So you can see what will work from your neighbor. Yeah, but this is, as I said, if this would have been my forest, I would have come in here a little bit earlier, like 1 year earlier, 2 years earlier. It's pretty, when the forest is young, it's pretty like time sensitive. So you can just maybe say, oh, I'm just gonna wait like 3 more years and do it. But that might already be like a pretty big mistake when the forest is young. It's really like, if there is like a need, then you pretty much need to do something within like 1 year or 2 years. It's like, it's pretty time sensitive actually. I think a lot of people just think that you just leave it, it will grow. But yeah, it will grow, but quality will be much worse, and yeah, not the greatest. But of course, again, I'm saying that, but when you're a landowner here, you can do whatever you want. You can leave the forest. It's not a crime. You can do whatever you want to the forest. You can just leave it. You can do a lot yourself. You can hire in people to do things. There's many ways you can manage a forest. Like maybe your top priority is getting as many birds in there or as many moose in there as possible. Maybe that's your goal. Then you maybe leave a lot of trees and leave like some areas with like, just leave them completely bushy and jungle like. So it depends. Yeah, not a crime, but if you're thinking about the financial side, like tree production on the financial side of it, then it definitely makes sense to take care of the forest when it's young, because that's when you actually have the biggest impact on the trees when they're small. It's a little bit similar, like if you teach a kid well, then he probably will become a good like adult too. Like there's some maybe not the best way to compare, but there is some things that, like, yeah, if you do something well in the beginning, then it will continue well also. Let's say if you build a new building, if you build a good foundation, then the building will probably be good also, or will survive for a long time. If you have a really bad foundation, then even if you build a good house, then the foundation is going to fail. Maybe that's a better comparison. So you need to have the foundation first, then you can build on top of that. So that's why what we're trying here. That's why I'm at least a few times a year I'm walking around here. I'm looking at the trees, seeing, do we need to do anything? So yeah, this here, it probably needs, down there in the bottom. Probably need to come there next year, next summer, next fall, next spring, at some point, and cut down some trees. Up here, right here, don't need to do anything here. This can grow for probably another 3-4 years before we need to do anything here. Yeah, the trees have room here. There's so many big boulders here that the trees. We couldn't like plant the trees too close to each other, or they haven't like come up too many of the natural trees either. So yeah, this looks good here. It can just grow here. Let it grow here. And yeah, the area that we took the firewood from this year, that area kind of needed thinning. So it was good for the forest there that we removed some trees. Those were already like a lot bigger. So we got, from a small area, we got like a lot of firewood. Yeah, it's like Thursday, but I don't think the neighbor was there cutting right now. I don't hear a brush cutter. Otherwise we could have seen the guy in action. Maybe he's doing something else today. I hear some birds. Whatever birds those are. Here we can see, I guess, when you have two trees really close to each other. Like this spruce, it's already like a little damaged here. The branch is a little damaged, the top of the tree is maybe a little bit damaged because this tree is like super close here. And when it's windy, they're like gonna like basically be fighting with each other. So this is like, when you get it too many like this, then you wanna like remove one of them. Cut them, probably cut both these down. Give the tree room. That's the main threat when you don't want to have like 4 trees right on top of each other. But I don't see too much of this here. Most of the trees have nice room. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense to come here and cut down one tree, but when the overall situation is getting to a point where it needs some help, then we're gonna give this forest a little help. Yeah, those trees don't have the safety distance. Too close to each other. But yeah, this area definitely, at least down there, it needs some work next year, I think. Up here, I think we're good for another couple of years. It's really fertile land down there, so the plus side is the trees will grow a little faster there, and then the downside is in the beginning you need to use the brush cutter a little bit more, because it's like a few years and it pushes up those small trees again. So it needs a little more work now, but it's going to probably give a little bit more in the future. As up here it's going to grow a little bit more slowly, but also a little bit less work. So it's like a win-lose, win-win situation, depending on how you're looking at it. Thank you for the follow there. But yeah, I think here we also planted some pine again. Here's most the spruce, and then here we planted pine. See how these look. That one looks like it got some damage. That one has some damage. We might have had a moose eat something here. But yeah, I think some of these trees have come in naturally, so there's still enough trees to where you can choose a little bit, so or cut down the damaged ones and leave some nicer ones. Yeah, that still looks nice. That still looks okay. It's gonna be okay. Always when you plant, you always think that we're not planting enough or they're too far away from each other, but then when it grows a few years, then it usually is enough trees. Another hill where we planted pine. Usually it's on the hilltops where the soil is like basically gravel. It's better to plant pine than spruce, but we only tried it in small spots because there's always the risk that moose comes in, eats all the trees, and then you're just like throwing money away. But I mean, this looks okay here. Don't see too much damage here. It's still always, even if you have like a plan when you start a forest, it's always a little bit of a trial and error. You try something, then you see if it works or if it doesn't work, or like it's always when you work with nature, it's never like, okay, we do this and this will always happen. It's always like we do this and then we hope this happens. It's never 100%, or you never know that it's going to be always going to work. Would you say it's overall healthy and good? Yeah, overall I'm satisfied here. There's like a little damaged tree there. This looks fine. Those look fine. The thing with the forests here in Finland is, no matter what you do, even if you don't do anything, even if you do a clear cut and leave it, there will always be some trees. It's like, yeah, the forests here, they work like that. Even if you cut the trees down and leave it, there will always be seeds from the nearby trees, and eventually you will have a new forest. So there's always going to be something, but yeah, we try to plant a little bit more of the quality trees. But yeah, overall this looks okay. Looks okay. I'm actually a little bit surprised how well they grew this summer. It was probably not the best summer for the trees either. When it was like super hot, super dry. That's not the best for the trees either. But I mean, they look pretty good. Not too much moose damage. I don't see very few like dead trees, like maybe 3 dead trees or something. So that's good. And yeah, the brush cutting need. Here you can maybe see it well, like there's not too many birches up here, but then down there you can see a lot of birches. So that's the area down there that probably needs a little work next summer. It's not a huge area, maybe half a hectare or maybe 1 hectare. But that's the things we need to do next year. Probably brush cut there. In the other area we need to plant like half a hectare of new trees, and then probably next year again make a little bit more firewood. That's probably the things we're gonna do next year in the forest. Yeah, there's always a little bit of things to do in the forest. It's always growing, so there's always things to do. A forest is never ready. That's a good way to put it. Always things to do in the forest. Even in our pretty small forest. So the farm only has like 20 hectares of forest, and in the big picture, that's not very much. Like that's a pretty small area of forest. But if you think about it like this way, let's say we have 20 hectares, then we split that into 20 pieces, and all those pieces have different forest that's of a different age. Then pretty much if you, let's say you do something in the forest in one place every 20th year, then still you would have like every year something to do. Because when you go to the last piece, then the first piece needs work again. Hello there, Mykso. Yeah, we're just wandering in the forest a little bit today here, checking on our investment. So these trees, the spruce here, these were planted here. This was our investment here, and the investment seems to be growing now each year, if you want to think about it that way. So yeah, a forest doesn't grow like super fast, but still, there's still always something to do. One area needs this, another area might need this. This area right here doesn't need anything. This just needs to grow right here. This area right here needs time. Needs time to grow. But yeah, this is going to be good. It's going to be a nice mixed forest here. Spruce here, pine there, leave some birches here. That's what we're going to aim here for. A little bit of a mixed forest, probably mostly spruce, but yeah, some pine, some birch, maybe some aspen trees, alder trees. Give it a bit diversity. Yeah, some damage, like that tree there is not good. That's definitely been damaged, but there's a few nice here. Looks okay. Now we're soon out from this like older area into some younger forest. Here it's like basically just birch right here, which is also fine. But yeah, if the farm would have like 200 hectares of forest, then you could probably live off just the forest. Then you could sell enough wood pretty much every year to just live off that. But yeah, we just have a little bit of forest. Again, yeah, here see spruces are smaller. This was planted like 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Spring of 2020. Again, here you see, there's pine here too. Here we only planted spruce up here. But there's birch. There's pines. A lot of pines here. Probably from those seeding trees up there. Neighbor has a bunch of pine there, so probably a bunch of seed came down from there. Which is good because this is, yeah, ideally right here you could have like mostly pine even. So it's good if we get some pine in naturally. And yeah, one thing I didn't say is also maybe your top priority is having a forest that's nice to walk in. That's also, especially these days, that's definitely for some landowners, that's the top priority. Have like a forest that looks nice, is easy to walk in, like that might be your top priority. Then you might do different things again in a forest. Maybe you want like a bunch of blueberries in your forest. Then you might do some different things again. There's at least here in Finland, I don't know, I'm only speaking again about our country, but you're pretty much free to do whatever you want in the forest. Like there are some rules, but you can go many ways. You can go many ways. It doesn't look like a lot of trees have been eaten. Are there moose there? There are moose here. It seems like this area might not have that many moose. I think if we go a couple of kilometers that way, where we also have a little bit of forest, there we have had a lot more damage. Here it looks okay. I only found like a few damaged trees. So yeah, I think just 2 kilometers that way, there's more moose. I mean, that's also one thing, like no one really knows like how the moose, like why are they there and why are they not here? Like it's just 2 kilometers. A moose can easily like walk 2 kilometers. And the forest here looks exactly the same as there, but then they eat all the trees there and leave these mostly intact here. No one really knows why, but yeah, that's why we have mostly planted these 3 spruce. The moose, they don't like this one. They never eat this one. So that's why we have planted mostly these 3. Up on the hill like this, where the soil is like more gravel and sand, pine would be, if I would have no pressure from the moose, I would probably have planted pine right here up on the ridge. But since we still have moose here quite a bit, I didn't want to risk it, so we planted some spruce here. Not the perfect solution, but I think the best solution. And then plant spruce and then let nature bring in some pine and birch. And then once the forest is a little bigger, then we will see what has grown well and what we will leave to grow. Okay, see you later, smiles. And this is also when I said earlier about some of the rules is when you do a clear cut, you need to leave like, I don't know exactly how many trees it is per hectare these days, but you can also leave these like high stumps. So the machine, this was clear cut with the big machines, they can also like easily grab a little higher and cut off the tree, and then they leave like these very long stumps. These should be good for some birds. They could like make a nest in these trees. This is one way you can leave some trees also. Create some diversity again. Might look kind of funny if you see this, but if you see this, then you know why there's a purpose why it has been done like this. This is not like an accident right here. It's done like this on purpose. Leave the birds some nesting trees. I don't know if I see any bird nests in there, but I mean they could do something. Or at least at some point when they get rotten and they fall down, then you have like a bunch of rotten wood, which is also good for some species. So yeah, another little thing. The birds know what's good. Yeah, I mean you would think this could be a good place for the birds. I don't know, maybe there's not maybe they would need to be more trees. trees around here, like live trees. But yeah, one way of creating like fake dead trees, like it's like dead trees. It's not like fake, even if it's like man-made maybe. But yeah, they left a little patch here, and up there we have another patch where they also, or the machine driver left on purpose like a little patch of trees, live trees, and then left some high stumps. But yeah, it's again one of those certification requirements. If you want to have your forest certified, then you need to do this, like leave some trees, take care of the diversity. Yeah, I'm not going to babble too much about that, because yeah, you can, if you're really interested in that, then you can find, if you look the forest certification online, then you can find all the exact rules. But yeah, these forests are certified. Now I remember it's PEFC certified. There's also the other certification type, which is FSC. That's a little different, but those are the main certification systems in Finland, at least. Basically, sustainable forestry is what they should help with, and they probably do. But yeah, this looks okay here. You can see the evergreen trees very easily right now. All the grass is like brown, so it's very easy to see here that this is good. Bunch of trees coming up. Good amount of pine here, which is nice to see. Get some free seeds from the neighbors' trees over there. Okay, we should probably go over there. There's like a really steep hill, and then we can go down there somewhere. Check out some areas. But yeah, these spruces up here, they haven't grown like super fast. Like they've already grown like 4 summers. So usually they're a little bit bigger than this, but I mean, if you're followed when I do like the farming stuff, the last 4 summers have been dry, like extremely dry and hot, so it's not the best for the trees either. They grow a little bit more slowly. Some other areas, when you planted it, like the trees immediately grew pretty fast in the beginning. But it's okay. Can't really irrigate the forest. I don't think that's really viable. Oh yeah, there's trees everywhere. Not many have died. That's like if you have some areas completely without no trees, then you would have to come back and maybe plant some more or something, but that usually doesn't happen here. Like even if the planted trees dies, then you get like birch or whatever in there. So we're pretty much, I've never had to like replant areas. I know some people have done it, especially if you plant pine, then you have a lot of moose. Moose comes in, eats the pine, then you have to plant new, then the moose comes in, eats the pine, and then you're in a pretty bad cycle. Really want to avoid that, because then you're basically just throwing money out, burning money. Might as well burn some money at that point. It's definitely in some areas it's like a big problem. If the soil is like much worse than this, then you really can't plant spruce, so you have to plant pine. But then the pine will always die of the moose. What you gonna do? and somehow you need to come up with a new forest there. So then you're kind of behind a rock and a hard place. Luckily here the soil is good enough, so we can plant spruce pretty much like everywhere. So we have like some sort of solution that works well, but it's, yeah, in some areas it's definitely like a big problem. Spray soap on the pine so the moose don't like the taste of the bark. Yeah, you can. There is some sort of stuff. I think it's called like trico. That's actually made. It's actually made so you can, yes, you spray on the top of the tree, and then the moose hopefully doesn't like the tree anymore. There is actually a thing like that. But then again, you would need to go here every year, spray on each tree. That's a lot of work again. But yeah, definitely some people have done that. And it's probably, I think it works okay at least. Yeah, here's a big hill. This is probably the biggest hill we have on our farm, like in the forest. It's maybe 10 meters lower there. We don't really have many big hills here. But quite a big, or a little bit of more hilly area. Then now we can head somewhere that way. There's like older forest there again. See what's going on there. Some rapakivi here. I don't know if this has like a name in English. Oh, there's like a bug. But yeah. So sometimes, I don't know if it's like a certain type of rock, or sometimes it's like a big boulder, and then it just, when the water gets in there, it just starts to crumble to this kind of like gravel. We call it in Finnish, it's like rapakivi. I have no idea what it's called in English. But yeah, it's a really crumbly rock. And you can basically dig it. It's really crumbly. It's actually just called rapakivi granite in English. So it definitely doesn't have any other type. I don't know, maybe this is this only like in Finland then maybe? Maybe this is only a rock type that's here. So yeah, it's granite, but it's like a really crumbly one. But it's funny, like this one is really crumbly, that one is not, that one is not, that one is not. It's kind of funny, why is this rock crumbly? I think they're all like granite here. But then a few of them are like completely crumbly. Rapakivi was first described by Finnish petrologist Jakob Cederholm in 1891. Interesting. So we definitely have that here. Back in the day they used this as gravel. They came here with the horse, then just shoveled this on the horse trailer and then took it to the farm. Good nature's own gravel. There's always like, there's a rapakivi and then there's not for a while, and then some areas there's maybe more of them. There's also other parts of the world, America. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's probably crumbler rocks in other places too. I mean, if you have like limestone, that's not like crumbly in the same way, but it's also like a really soft rock. Yeah, here's a little patch we planted with birch again. Looks okay. It was probably, I think a lot of the older generation spruces here were rotten, so that's why we switched over to birch right here. They look decent. Not too much moose damage here again. these have grown pretty well. This tree is like probably 5 meters long in 4 years. So this has grown like 1 meter per year. That's pretty good. I mean, birch usually grows pretty fast in the beginning, especially if it has room. But yeah, even spruce can grow pretty fast in the beginning if you have it well planted and you get some decently moist summers. Here's a lot of rapakivi right here. Here's a lot. There's one, there's a big one. There's one. Then there's a bunch of just granite boulders down here. Here's a lot of them. A lot of the rapakivi. This would make some nice gravel right here. Good road building material. Or even like if you build a foundation for something, this would make great foundation gravel. Okay, we're gonna go straight through the other forest. Soon we're gonna get some older stuff again. Then we'll see if we can find our way through, because those trees are much taller, so it's not as easy to find your way as here. More high stumps here. I guess they left a little patch also. A lot of really high 3-4 meter stumps. Yeah, better soil down here. Here you can see the spruces are bigger. And then again there where it's a bunch of grass, then they're a little bit smaller. It's a really, really grassy area down here. You can see this is a really interesting phenomenon. You can see these like weird ice pieces. You can see how the ground is like lifted up in the air here. Then there's like these weird ice shapes. It's when there's ice in the water, ice in the ground, and it like freezes and actually lifts up the top of the ground. You get these weird pieces of ice. So if you plant a tree there on the surface, then that phenomenon can actually, it can lift the whole tree up, and then the tree is like dead on the top of the ground. I think it's called like roaste in Finnish, that phenomenon. It has to be just the right type of soil. Then that thing can happen. If you have a lot of that, it can again be really hard to start new trees. Because when you plant them in the ground, then that ice lifts them up and then the tree is like dead on the surface. It hasn't happened to these trees, luckily here. They have survived it. It seems. But yeah, when the tree is really small, then that definitely can kill some trees. Really depends on what kind of soil you have. It's a pretty good stump here. Hopefully the next generation becomes big as this. I think they're gonna do when if this grew this well here, you can see really this tree was actually not that old. Kind of hard to see the rings anymore now, but if we do a quick calculation, maybe it's best visible here. Well, this tree, it could still be like 100 years old, but if you give these new spruces that we planted, if you give them good room, they could become this big in like 50 years, 60 years, because they grow even faster than the old ones. These should have a little bit better genes, I guess. And then when you just make sure that they always have room to grow, then you have some pretty big trees pretty fast, at least in forest terms. 50 years doesn't really sound that fast, probably for most people, but in the forest, if you can get that size tree in 50 years, that's pretty fast. Excuse me. In the jungle we go, here's like some older forest. It's probably like 10 years old or something, maybe a little bit over. Yeah, if we go straight, somewhat straight towards the power line, then we should come out on the other side somewhere. This one I did brush cut this. I don't know if it was last summer or the summer before that, but you can still see some trees that I cut down here. There's still some remnants left. But yeah, these trees have pretty good room to grow still. This was already a complete jungle a few years ago, but now there's room for the trees to grow again. A few more years before probably the next thing right here is gonna be cutting down some firewood in like 10-15 years. This looks like some animal has been laying here. Flat spot on the ground. You can see all these trees laying down on the ground. That's the stuff I cut down a couple of years ago. Some of these come back like this. It's like the different types of larix. These grow back a little bit. But the birches have not come back too much here. It looks good otherwise here. Let's not fall down. They left some bigger birches, but otherwise this looks pretty good. Yeah, these you can already call a forest, I guess. Trees are a little bit bigger. Alder right here. A little ditch here. Hopefully we can jump over it without falling in the ditch. Yeah, even this has changed a lot in a couple of years now. Can't really see anywhere anymore. Can't see over the trees anymore. That's always when it changes a bunch, when you can't see over the trees anymore. Like back there we could see over the trees. It looked kind of, yeah, just like a bunch of small trees, but cannot see over these anymore. Unless you're a giant. Not even John can see over these, and he's pretty much a giant. A moose behind the tree. Yeah, you never know. There's definitely tracks here of deer and moose. So at some point they are definitely here. They're probably gonna hear me like way before I hear them or see them. I'm just a very clumsy human being walking through the forest. The moose and deer, they're so much more like, they hear much better than we do, and they see better than we do, probably smell better than we do. Drone would be pretty cool. Yeah, then I could show you the view from above. People actually stream through the drone. Yeah, I've seen many streamers use a drone. It's definitely possible. You need one of the more expensive drones, but it is definitely possible. But yeah, this is definitely becoming a forest here. Trees are definitely growing. Here's like a big alder. Some of the trees that were left behind, or left as like forever trees, or they will never be like cut down. If they fall down, they fall down. Here you can see, here's some tracks. Like something has walked right here. And it's not me. The grass is like trampled down. Probably deer or moose. Or wild boars. Or a bear. Or a wolf. Or a raccoon dog. Or fox. Or badger. There's quite a few animals that can like walk in the forest here. If we see some crap, then we can determine what it was a little bit easier, I think. But yeah, at least the deer crap and moose crap, you always see it, so there are definitely plenty here. Hopefully not a wolf. Yeah, there was definitely, I don't know if there's been a wolf sighting here super close, but there was definitely like a bear sighting not far away from the farm actually. Here you can see, like, this is like a flat area. There's probably like a deer. This seems like a smaller animal. Maybe a deer has been sleeping here. Then there's like a path going there. Probably a deer or something. Again here, grass is all flat. Seems like could definitely be some sort of smaller animal. Do I have bear spray? Nope. Nope. No. No bear spray, nothing with me. Nothing with me today. I don't even have the chainsaw today. If I would have the chainsaw or the brush cutter, then I could definitely defend myself. But nothing today. But yeah, now we're back out to the power line. That's one of those juniper trees. Someone asked that do we have juniper trees? Here's like a bunch of them right here. They definitely grow here in some places. They're really nice looking trees. That tree could easily be like 70 years old. They don't grow very fast, but pretty nice looking tree. And sometimes it has these berries. Oh yeah. Looks like bilberry or blueberry. Tastes like tastes like sweet and salty at the same time. But these blue ones, you can actually eat them. They taste pretty good actually. Pretty strong taste. Stronger than blueberries or bilberries or whatever you call them. Bunch of them have fallen down, but there's still some left in the tree. Scuffed berry. I don't know if these are scuffed. The ones on the ground are scuffed. I don't want to eat them. There's still some that are like completely not blue yet. But it's pretty it's pretty cool to still find. We're like almost in November. I can find these berries. Earlier we found lingonberries. So there's still like some berries in the forest. Like it's definitely not prime berry season at this point. Like we're very far away from the berry season, but you can still find some stuff. Nice mini snack. There's even more, a couple more of these trees here. And of course there's some of those Pihlajanmarja, whatever that's called. Rowan tree, yeah. Rowan tree berries. Those you can still find too in some places. They're really sour, but I mean those you could technically eat too. Yeah, these look really old. These two are probably really old trees. Could be 100 years even. Usually find these at like the edge of the field or something. In those places you can usually find these trees. Out there on the little island there's also 3-4 really nicely shaped trees. I don't think they cut these down too much, even when they're under a power line, because they really don't grow too tall. I guess they have cut down a few there, but or the big one there they have cut down also. I wonder how they got that cut with the brush cutter. As long as they stay under a certain length, I don't think they need to cut them down. But yeah, let's go take a look. How the hell did the guys get this big tree cut down with they only had the brush cutter when they did this, not like a chainsaw. How did they get this cut? And it's almost out on the field. I definitely have to file a complaint for this Why is this tree out on the field? Same on the other one there. Clearly a spot where some complaints need to be filed. Yeah, they just cut a bunch of times up here from many sides. Like a tree this big, it's starting to be pretty hard to cut with the brush cutter that they use for the rest of the stuff. But they got this, they got it chopped down. Just cut from like 10 different angles, and then it fell almost out in the field. I guess this one was too tall. Most of the stuff they cut down, you can see there is like smaller bushes and stuff. That's what the brush cutter is meant to cut down, as you saw on my stream a few days ago, or maybe a few weeks ago, like anything under 10 centimeters. That's what it's meant for. But then this is like, it's almost like at least 15 centimeters in diameter. So they had to cut pretty high and yeah, cut like from many sides many times to get it down. And also here they got some aspen tree or something. Maybe that was that one in the ditch. And why the hell did they? Why have they tossed it in the ditch? This is not good. I'm gonna pull this out of the ditch. Maybe it was there and then it rolled down here. There's another one underneath. Ah, yeah, it grew here. Then they just dropped it. Pretty much in the ditch. Have to clear it a little bit. I don't want stuff in the ditch too much. But yeah, if you would be like a tiukka people guy, so a guy with a tight hat, then you would complain about that. Oh, here's maybe wild boar things. There's like a hole in the ground. Here also somebody has been digging. Or something has been digging. Or maybe somebody, you never know. Some crazy guy digging in the field. There's also a little hole. Most likely though, it's wild boars. Yeah, everywhere here. There's a hole. There's probably a lot of worms or something that the wild boar likes in this field, since there's like everywhere small holes. Kind of a good news, bad news kind of situation. It's good that there seems to be worms in the ground, and then bad news, if they would dig like a big hole, then when you hit that with the tractor, then it's not going to be nice. What if it was a metal detector treasure hunter? I mean, it could be that too, technically. But the holes look like they were dug by an animal. I mean, it could be a metal detector guy. But yeah, I have not given permission to anybody, so then it technically would be again not good if it would be somebody digging here in the fields. Wild boars must be held accountable for ruining the field. As long as it's just a little bit like that, it's fine. One year we had like, it was a corner of a field, like the very corner. There was at least like 10 square meters that was like completely, everything was completely like, almost like somebody had plowed the corner. Then that would almost be considered damage already. Like there was a little crops there that was actually destroyed. But yeah, otherwise the boars haven't really like caused Not any kind of significant damage yet. Definitely a little bit. You can definitely see them as we walk here. As we walk this loop, we could see like at least a few places where the boars had been around. Here's usually where we take the Christmas tree. That one behind there looks okay. Maybe some of them. They're not really that nice, most of them, but maybe we can get one Christmas tree from here. One or maybe two. We usually have at the farm, we have like one Christmas tree outside and then one Christmas tree indoors. So we need like 2 trees per year. I think we can find one at least here. And so the inside of the shed, how old? This is old. This is probably, this could be the oldest barn that we have on the farm. Because I think this was moved here. It was somewhere else before. And then my grandpa like moved it here back in the day. So this is, yeah, I would say this is really old. My guess would be, well, at least 80 years. Could be over 100 years. I think when they put it here, they even changed the 2 logs that are lowest, and then the rest are even older. But yeah, we can look inside. There's just some wood inside, just a small door, so you can't get inside with the tractors here. It's only a storage of wood. That's the only thing you can get out and in from this door. But it works nice as this. It's still a good barn. Roof is good. So good storage for wood. It's not on the field. It's like off the field also, so it's not in the way. You have maybe seen on some other streams we have taken down some barns that were on the field. Then they're kind of in the way. But this field is not on the field, so it's not in the way, so can work as storage. There's a bunch of 2x4s, boards, maybe some 5x5s, whatever there is here. Some building materials. I've been thinking about building some sort of like not a shed, but like a lean-to or some sort of little building in the forest. And I would definitely have enough wood here to build it, or enough lumber. There's boards, there's 2x4s. Definitely enough to build some sort of little structure at least, even a bigger structure. But yeah, nice old barn. I remember when I was a kid there was still like straw inside here, straw bales. But that's a long time ago. Probably for the last 20 years it's just been storage for lumber. But yeah, it works. This barn works well for this. I don't know really, couldn't really use it for much else, but a good lumber storage area. Good day there, Jen. I'm just checking out some areas today. We walked a little bit through the forest there. And now, I mean, here you can see one of the products that we can get from the forest. Like all this wood has been cut from logs that came from the forest we just walked through. This is one of the products you can get. Hello there, WSS. But yeah, this is just all this lumber that's here. This is just like leftovers from when we put new siding on the farmhouse. So we needed a bunch of boards for that. We cut those. Then there was a little bit left over. That was put in here. When we built the machine shed, then we also had some leftover wood. That was also put here. So this is just leftover for a bunch of projects. But yeah, it's nice to have. So then if I need to build a little something, I can just come after the wood here. I don't immediately need to buy something. I can just use this wood. When I built the gazebo was built from wood that all came from here. Probably see if I can climb inside. See if the stream works inside here. So yeah, there's like some 2x4s, 2x5s over there. There's a bunch of boards, more boards, 5x6s, 1x6s, 1x5s maybe. Then there's 2x2s, 1 inch times 6 inches probably there. All kinds of wood. All kinds of random wood. Or lumber, I should call. A little dusty on the surface, but good stuff to build things from. There's usually just the first board is like, if you turn it around and you can see there's just dust on the surface. Good wood. It's not planed or anything, it's just raw cut wood. But good building material. How you keep it from rusting? You probably mean how you keep it from rotting. As long as it's dry, it's good. So that's why it's in a barn with a good roof. As long as it's dry, it stays good for like 50 years, more maybe. Yeah, as long as you keep the wood dry, it stays good for a long time. It's like there's a floor underneath, so it's off the ground, and then, yeah, a good roof, so it doesn't rain inside here, so it's, yeah. The only thing you can see, there's like a bit of dust on the surface, but then when you if you flip it around, you can see the dusty side, the not dusty side. This looks like it was cut yesterday or milled yesterday. And these are probably, well, at least 10 years old. So you can see once you get the dust off, it's like good wood. Perfectly fine to build whatever you want to build. I mean, I guess here you can see on this one log, this seems to have, there's some bugs that can drill like hole inside. You can see here's like sawdust on top. So I think this one, it seems to have some sort of bug infestation. There's like these really small things that can drill inside the wood. It's not termites, but yeah, this one log seems to have that. I don't see any other piles of sawdust anywhere else, so I wonder what that one has. But it depends on the wood type, or every type could last. Yeah, every type could last, as long as it's dry. No, it's not termites. We don't have termites in Finland. I don't know what it's called. There's like it drills these like really small holes inside, but it's just the one there, which is weird. All the other ones look clean. But yeah, luckily we don't have termites. Then we could have maybe quite a bit of problem because we have a lot of wooden buildings here. But yeah, we don't have termites. It's some sort, I don't know what it's called, not even in Finnish, but it's like some really small bug that drills hole in like dry wood. We have one bug that's much worse than that. It goes on living trees in the forest and then it can actually kill the living trees. That bug is much worse. That's just fine. I've seen it on like a few logs. I don't know why. It's like on the one log there, and then all the other logs are like clean. But yeah, all wood stays pretty good. I mean, you can see these logs in the wall here. Like these are still good, and these are definitely, these could be like 100-year-old, or this barn could easily have been built 100 years ago. And you can see the wood here is perfectly fine. Like on the outside you can see some weathering, and maybe the logs that are lowest, maybe close to the ground, those might be a little rotten, but I mean the log here, this is it's solid. Could be 100 years old and it's perfectly solid. Of course the color over the, when time goes on, the color of the surface might change a little bit. But the wood itself is like solid. But yeah, I think this barn was moved here. It was somewhere else in the beginning, I think. Because I saw in some corner, I saw the numbers they had put on the logs to be able to like stack it down somewhere else and then build it up here again. I don't know where it was. Maybe it was on the outside. But yeah, pretty cool barn. It could be the oldest structure we have here on the farm. If it's over 100 years old, then it's probably the oldest one. And I mean, it's got a metal roof on it now, so that's of course newer. But at least some of these logs in the wall, some are probably 100 years old. They're probably the lowest one. I think they might have replaced those at some point. But yeah, on the outside you can see it looks really weathered, but it's not rotten. How you isolated a simple wood building like this if it was for habitat? Well, back in the days when they built when the house even was built from logs, then they probably, yeah, when you had, if you build like a log building like this, a log on top of a log on top of a log, then they put like moss in between. Because otherwise, of course, you could get the wind in between here. But they put moss in between. And then the wind can't go through. That's how they isolated it in the beginning, like a long time ago. But of course, these days, you can build wooden buildings like in a different way. But if you go for the log cabin look, then you would have to put something in between the logs. This side is a little rotten on the surface, maybe even. Like this is starting to be a little rotten. This is the south side. The south side is always gets the most exposure to weather. So this side is a little bit bad here. But yeah, as long as it's standing, it's good. It's just a storage for some wood. Not like the top priority to keep in 100% shape. But as long as the roof doesn't leak and the walls are somewhat straight up, it works as a lumber storage. But yeah, I don't see the numbers. Usually they put the numbers here on each log so they know. Oh, actually, here we can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We found the numbers. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then they probably had they might have put a new log underneath. But there you can see the numbers. So that's a clear sign that this barn has been moved from somewhere and then put here. Or at least they built it once and then they took it down for some reason, because otherwise they wouldn't put these numbers on the logs. So yeah, I thought that I had seen it somewhere, but there it was. It should be on every side, so they know where each log goes. But yeah, 7, 6, 5, There's 3 on that log. You can clearly see 3 marks. So yeah, that usually means it's really old when it's moved from one place to another. Because this whole area here, like the first houses maybe came here 100 years ago. But this barn might have been moved from the nearby village where people were living a lot longer. And then at some point they started to move here, and then they took their barn with them. So yeah, probably an old, really old barn. Could be the oldest building on the farm here. It's either that one or then the old sauna. We can go and take a look at the old sauna too. That one is also really old. And that one was, the walls was just like round logs. But the other one we go and take a look there, they cut the size of the logs. So the building it looks like different. It's a little bit more, they put more effort into that building. This one is just pretty much as simple as you can go. I mean, it makes sense when it's just a barn. Then they built it as fast as they could, or as easy as they could. Different story when they, for example, when they built the house, then they put more effort in it. If it was like a building that had to be warm in the winter. That barn back there was of course not heated. Yeah, this building right here, this is probably the oldest or second oldest on the farm. A little like, it was a sauna back in the day. Probably the first sauna they had on the farm, I think, was this one right here. So it must be at least 80 years old. It's not a sauna anymore, but we can look inside and you can clearly tell it was probably like a smoke sauna, because all the walls are like black inside. Here you can already see when we look from here. You can see the logs have been cut on 2 sides and even on the underside, so they fit each other better. So this, if you make it like this and then put some moss in between here, then that's how they built the houses. Shape the logs a little bit, put them on top of each other, and then some moss in between. Then it's gonna be, then you have a nice isolation, like 20 centimeter thick walls. That's gonna provide pretty good isolation in the winter. Yeah, we can look inside also. This was also like a full wall, I think, in the beginning, and then later they put like a big door here. Not the original door. Now there's like a there's like a snow blower inside here. But yeah, concrete floor, that's pretty cracked. You can see the walls are like, here you can see the stuff that's in between. That's not moss, it's like I don't know what this is. There's moss right there. You can still see the old moss that they put in between there. Then they have probably added this from the inside to get better isolation. But there you can see here you can see the actual, probably like 80-year-old moss that's in between. That's pretty cool to see. And the walls are like all black. So this was like a old-time sauna. Old-time sauna where the smoke was left to, like, at least part of the smoke came inside. That's why all the walls are like black. It was like a smoke sauna, I think they call it. Not that common these days, but back in the day, I think all the saunas were like that. When this built, I would say this was built, I don't know exactly. I could ask my dad, he might know. But 1930s or 40s, I would say. So it's getting close to being 100 years old, I think. Again, cool building. Decent shape, of course not in perfect shape anymore, but now it's like a storage for stuff, but it works. The roof is good. This one still has the shingle roof. No tin roof on this one. But the roof is not leaking, so it's good. It's good. Do the moisture smell? No, it smells good. Like inside here it smells like, let me smell. Let me smell the walls. It smells like wood. It actually smells just like, almost like fresh wood. Not like fresh wood, but yeah, it doesn't smell bad. So I don't think there's really any mold. Like you would find a lot more mold in newer structures, which is always crazy. Like there's no plastic here. So the walls, everything can breathe. So there's really no mold here, I think. Not much at least. I mean, there's in those newer buildings that have like plastic everywhere, I think that's more, you have more dangerous mold there. This, even if it's an old building, it smells good. I don't detect any mold. Like there could still be, of course, something somewhere, but I can't detect anything, at least directly. Yeah, this is pretty. If the floor would be like, the floor has concrete, so that's of course a little bit made, but if it would be just like natural rocks as foundation, then it could be like pretty natural, like rocks from the nearby, all the wood from trees. Then you could even build the roof, you can build from just wood. Then it would be like a completely wooden building. Like there's still some metal, like some hinges are metal and stuff, but if really back in the day when they didn't have metal, they could like you could basically build a structure like this and pretty much not even have any metal in it. Like just wood and rocks. Which is, yeah, it's kind of crazy, but I mean, a few hundred years ago, maybe 300 years ago, that's how they did it. There was not much metal. There was just wooden rocks. Do you have outdoor sauna still? No, we don't have outdoor sauna, not at the farm. Just an electric sauna in the farm or in the farmhouse. I don't know when this was a sauna last. It might have been, maybe they used this as a sauna in the, maybe in the 60s. I mean, it's as long as I remember, this has always been like storage for stuff. Because even in the older farmhouse, they had a sauna in the house. So I believe they had this here in the beginning. It might have been even that when they built the first farmhouse, they built this first, and then they actually lived in this one too. Like this was the sauna, but they basically lived in the sauna when they built the first house. I mean, when they built the first house, they had to go somewhere when they built it. So they might have built this first, like a small structure, and then lived here when they built the better house, and then after that this became a sauna. So that's talking about, like these days you would say that's really rough conditions, but that's how they did it probably. And it's not that long ago, like 100 years ago. I don't know that they could have lived somewhere in the nearby village and came here too. But I think my dad said that they built this. This was the first structure, and then they lived here, like here and the small part that's there, while they were building the house and the like first cow barn. The first cow barn is not, that's completely removed. Like it was the first cow barn, it was right here where this high structure is, but they tore that down when they built this newer thing in the like 70s already. So the original barn, there's nothing left of the original cow barn. That would be really cool to see, or if it would be left, because that one probably had, even if it was like a cow barn, it had like a wooden floor, I think. So those are really rare and really old. All the newer ones, even like a little bit newer ones, they have like a concrete floor. Old smoke sauna, only used for smoking, Christmas ham. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they made food here also, but I'm pretty sure this was a smoke sauna, because you can see in the back there, you can see where the seats were. You can see like everything else is kind of black, and then there's one small spot that's not black. So pretty sure this was used as a smoke sauna. There's even the hatch there, so you had that kind of closed, but then you had to open it a little bit so you get a little bit of smoke going out too. But yeah, they probably in the first they didn't even have a chimney. Like they put a bunch of rocks there and a fire, and then the smoke just came all inside the building, and then it went out from a hatch like that. I think they did that in the like original smoke saunas. Maybe. Not an expert, but I think they had, like in the good old days, or I don't know the good old days, but the old days, they did it like that. What about the red paint? Why red exactly? So, yeah, a lot of old buildings in Finland, Sweden, Norway, they have this like red color. I think it was because that was the pretty much only color that was available back in the day. So I don't know where they got the pigment from or the color, but the paint otherwise, it's like you can make it from really simple ingredients. Like they obviously back in the day you didn't go somewhere and buy the paint like you do today, but they made their own paint. So I think that's why you see a lot of this red color. Red ochre or iron oxide is a natural earth pigment. Yeah, so, but I think that they probably bought. But the rest, I think the rest of the paint is like, it's like wheat, flour, and some other like really simple ingredients. The other ingredients they could get from the farm, I think. I think the pigment you had to buy. I think they had to get that from somewhere else, but all the other ingredients to the paint you could have on the farm. So you could even almost self-sufficient on the paint. That's why you see it everywhere. I mean, there could be some other reasons also, but I mean, it doesn't look bad either. I think when we painted this, like this is not painted with the real stuff. This was painted with some paint that we got from the store, of course. But when they first painted it, it was probably painted with the Punamulta paint. But yeah, we still keep most of the buildings are kind of red here. Yeah, even the new metal building, it still has red walls. That's like a metal building, so but it's still kind of the same color. But yeah, there are a lot of red buildings around. I mean, yeah, a lot of barns are red. Some houses these days, of course, they have white houses, blue houses, like also other colors. But yeah, red is still common. A common color. I mean, it looks pretty nice, especially on older buildings. It looks really nice. Fits the building pretty well. Let's looked it up, and yes, red pigments are easier to get and cheaper, plus tradition. Yeah, so it's probably a combination of many things. But yeah, here we got the firewood that we cut. If someone watched a few weeks ago when we were still cutting in the forest, now it's all the wood is brought out here, brought into a pile. Then we can just, next spring we will start chopping this into smaller pieces and making the actual firewood. Some decent wood here. Here you can see the rings, how old it is. Wish we could have smell vision now. There's a bunch of pine here, so smells really good. Smells really good, especially the pine. Really good smell. Very, very fresh smell, and it smells for like a long time, even if the trees are here in the spring when we make this into firewood. When you cut it again, then it's gonna smell good again. Pretty nice. And this here we can cut. This is like the first log, so we can even. This tree wasn't even that old. 3, 4, 5. Maybe like 45 years. So it was actually not that old, like this big in 45 years. That's not bad. Not bad. Yeah, so when we're at the farm here, I would say most of the time, smell-o-vision would be good. Not 100% of the time. Sometimes if the neighbors are spreading like manure on the fields, then it might be like a day when it's not the best smell. but most of the time. When we're in the forest, always good smells. Here on the farm, most of the time, very good smells. Cut it before it could retire. Yeah, so you don't see probably from here, but the logs that we cut, there were like logs that had like poor quality. And so it doesn't show very well. This one is like a banana tree. So we mostly cut down trees that were like bad quality. It's not easy to see when you see it from the end here, but all the best trees are still growing in the forest. We took the not so great trees and cut them down. This all wood, it came from like a tinning. This didn't come from a clear cut. It came from a tinning, which means it's like we removed some trees but left a lot of trees. Left all the good ones. But yeah, these trees, if that was like 40 years, these trees are probably 40 years or younger. So, I mean, we took all the area we checked there, those were probably 10 years or younger. So it doesn't take that long. In just I know it's a lot, but in just 40 years they can already grow to this size. Like there's definitely some pretty big ones here. This one is like, if my hand is there, that's like twice my hand. And the average size is like maybe 20 centimeters in diameter. So this is very good. This is the good size to make firewood. If you have really big trees, then it's tough to make firewood, and really small, then it takes like too much work to make firewood. But this is pretty good size to make firewood. Why you leave those trees in the forest? So I left the good trees to grow even bigger, and then we can sell them for decent money when you have like big trees that have good quality. That's where the money is. When you have like these crappy smaller trees, they're not worth that much. So we can harvest the ugly trees, the bad trees, use them as firewood, and then try to sell the more higher quality wood. So for sure I could have sold this also. I would say maybe this pile of wood, it's probably worth, if I would sell it, it was 20 cubic meters. Maybe this is pulpwood mostly. Let's say you get like 40 euros per cubic meter. Then it's like 600 euros, maybe 700 euros. Maybe something like that this pile would be worth if I sell it. So something, but I mean not that much. Some of the really big ones might qualify as logs, then they would be like maybe 70, 80 euros per cubic meter. There's maybe some of them, but mostly it would be pulpwood. So maybe that's like 40 euros per cubic meter now. But yeah, we needed some firewood, so I decided to not sell anything this year. Or not sell this, just take it as firewood. Like here you can see this tree is maybe a good example. Like it's got this weird thing that it grew weirdly here. And you can see it's like a not straight. So this is good as firewood, but this would never be a nice log to sell because it's all kind of crooked. Same with this guy, it's got the bend. You want, for the stuff you sell, you want it to be straight. Then it's worth more. Banana tree, I guess that's the best way of me explaining it. Yeah, the banana trees. If the tree is shaped like a banana, it's not good. It works as firewood, but it gets downgraded if you sell it. Ja, man kan stänga dörren nu för när det börjar regna så att det inte far in dit. Ja. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's good. That's ready there. It maybe dries a little bit now, but next spring it's gonna dry a lot, and then we'll split it up into smaller pieces. Can just stay there over winter. But yeah, I think that's gonna probably be it for today. We did a little checkup of the forest today, see how the investment is doing. Seem to be doing okay. So yeah, a little exercise at the same time too. But yeah, we'll see what I have to show next. At some point we might probably do like some sort of desktop stream, because in the winter I don't have that much to show you outdoors. Like we already did the forest stuff. So I have I can show you skiing in the winter. Maybe we'll go walk some areas depending on the weather, but not too much to show. But yeah, I might do some computer streams. I have not done a computer stream in a long time on the stream, but we could maybe do some computer stuff too. We'll see, we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching now, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.
I am here in the middle of nowhere. There is no there, it is cold there, but I am safe and I am warm. Although it's hard, I know I gotta keep up. No time to lay, to drift away. I fill my space, I spend my time down the rabbit hole again. And as I fall, I can feel the pain. You can't tell me where to go, so I don't know, I just go with the flow. I go with the flow. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. Up above, just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. I'm out of love, but I guess I deserved it. Trying to hide, to pass you by. I'm getting down, feeling fine. I'm light as air, no one can reach me. Lost in a dream, lost in between. Let's keep on flying, let's keep on breathing. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. Up above, just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck